Everyone is talking about the new Su-30SM2, but is it actually a top-tier beast or just a massive target? The trailers make it look easy, but the reality of the current meta is a lot more painful. To find out what actually awaits the average player, I recorded the statistics from 10 consecutive matches. Today, we're looking at the raw data, my KD, my survival rate, and the honest truth about the stock grind. Let's see if this jet is worth your time. Looking at the technical profile, the Su-30SM2 is a massive step up from the early variants. The heart of this beast is the Saturn AL-41F1S engine setup, which pushes the jet to a Mach 2.1 limit and a top structural speed of 1,540 km/h. For weaponry, you aren't just limited to 10 R771 South. You have a total payload capacity of over 8,000 kilograms. This includes high-tier guided munitions like the KH-38MT and the UPAB-150 guided bombs. Whether you're playing ARB or ground striking, the stats suggest a dominant multi-role platform, but as my 10-match data shows, numbers aren't everything in the current meta. When we look at the raw acceleration data, the difference between the Su-30SM2 and the original SM is night and day. On this graph, the blue line represents the SM2, and as you can see, its climb to top speed is much steeper. Thanks to those uprated AL-41F1S engines, the SM2 hits 1,200 km/h in just 30 seconds, while the standard SM is still lagging behind at roughly 1,050. To truly understand the Su-30SM2, we have to see how it competes on the global stage. This graph compares its performance against the F-15C, the Eurofighter Typhoon, and the Rafale. First, let's talk about pure speed. The F-15C Golden Eagle remains the undisputed king of the high-altitude sprint, with a massive VNE of 1,629 km/h. The Eurofighters follow closely behind at 1,607. Our Su-30SM2 sits comfortably in the middle at 1,540, while the Rafale actually has the lowest structural limit at only 1,458. Let's break down the eyes of the Su-30SM2. It's the advanced N035 Urbacy radar, giving it a massive 240 by 120 degree field of view. This PACE system allows you to look significantly further to the sides than most Western jets. So, is the Su-30SM2 actually worth the grind? Here is the breakdown. The pros. First, the N035 radar is essentially perfect. Because of its huge scan sector, you can crank your aircraft to the side while maintaining a lock, allowing you to stay in the enemy's notch and remain effectively invisible. Second, the AL-41F1S engines provide a massive boost to maneuverability and acceleration. It reaches combat speeds much faster than the original SM-30, though you have to watch your throttle. At high speeds, The airframe is less responsive to notching. Third, the firepower is top tier. You can carry up to 12 missiles, including the lethal Fox 3s, R-77-1 and Fox 2s, R-73. The cons, on the flip side, the MICA is harsh. At battle rating 14.3, you are constantly up-tiered against the strongest jets in the game. It also has a very high skill ceiling. To survive, you need flawless RWR awareness and energy management. Lastly, the speed is a double-edged sword. It accelerates so quickly that if you aren't paying attention, you'll hit that 1,540 km/h structural limit and rip your wings off before you even see the enemy. Alright, let's cut through the hype and look at the raw data. This table shows my first 10 matches in the Su-30SM2 at battle rating 14.3, and it paints a very honest picture of the current top-tier experience. Over 10 games, I secured 14 kills and suffered 8 deaths, resulting in a kill-death ratio of 1.75. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not amazing. And you're right. It's not a highlight reel of ace games, but that's exactly the point. This is the reality that is likely waiting for the average player. You will have great moments, like in matches 6, 7, and 9 where I pulled a 3-to-1 ratio. But you will also have games like matches 2, 5, and 10 where you get taken out early without getting a single kill. Look at the average time column. The average match lasted just over 5 minutes. This confirms what we said about the harsh MICA. The gameplay is incredibly fast, and mistakes are punished instantly. You don't have time to loiter. You are either fighting for your life or back in the hangar. So, while the Su-30SM2 has incredible potential with its perfect radar and powerful engines, don't expect to jump in and dominate immediately. A 1.75k D is a very respectable start in this unforgiving environment, and it's a much more accurate representation of the grind than only showing the best moments. Statistics only tell half the story. To really understand how to fly the Su-30SM2, you need to see how these matches actually played out. As we go through the footage from all 10 combats, I'm going to share some specific survival tips that helped me maintain a positive KD despite the harsh 14.3 environment. In top-tier jets, survival isn't just about being a better pilot. It's about better energy management and mastering your sensors. Let's dive in. Before you spawn, double-check your settings. I take 30 minutes of fuel, which is plenty for a full match. For the UN-035 radar, I set the mode to TWS HDN track while scan, head-on and the scope scale to 100 kilometers. This gives me the best situational awareness right off the runway, allowing me to spot and track multiple targets at long range before the merge. For my loadout, I run 10 R771 South and 2 R73s. You can swap in R to 7 EOS for more range if you prefer. With this radar, you can guide missiles while cranking hard to stay safe. Now, let's talk about positioning. At the start of every match, I immediately begin a climb to an altitude of 8 to 9,000 meters. I always head toward the left flank, following the red path shown here. This is crucial for 2 reasons. First, it prevents the enemy from catching you in a flank attack, and second, it keeps you out of the initial death ball of missiles in the center. Once I've secured the high-altitude flank, I transition to the blue path. This allows me to dive in with a massive energy advantage to support my teammates or pick off distracted targets. The most important thing to remember, do not rush the center of the map. In the current 14.3 MICA, rushing the middle is a guaranteed way to get overwhelmed by Fox 3 South from every direction. Stay high, stay wide, and pick your engagements on your own terms. While I'm in the initial climb, I use the time to gather intelligence by checking the scoreboard. First, I look at what my teammates are flying to pinpoint the match's battle rating. If I see rank 8 jets like the F-15E or Mirage 2000, I know I'm in a high-tier match and need to stay alert. Next, I check the enemy flags. This is a pro tip. Flags often reveal exactly which aircraft you'll be facing. For instance, seeing an Iranian flag almost certainly means there is an F-14 Tomcat on the other side. This is a huge warning sign. It means the enemy will likely launch a wave of long-range Fokker 90 missiles early in the match. By identifying this threat before the merge, I can prepare to go defensive or start notching as soon as my RWR pings. Knowing who you're fighting before the first missile is fired is the best way to avoid an early trip back to the hangar. By pressing the Alt key, you can manually control your radar cursor with your mouse, or you can assign specific keys in the controls menu. Additionally, as I approach the center of the map, I switch my radar mode to TWS. Understanding how your missiles track is the key to surviving the 14.3 MICA. When you are using Fox 3 missiles like the Su-30SM2, you can utilize a soft lock in TWS HDN mode. This allows you to guide the missile toward the target without triggering a hard lock warning on their RWR, giving them much less time to react before the missile's own active seeker takes over. To maximize your kill probability, you need to understand the dynamic range indicators on your HUD. The radar calculates the best firing window based on your current altitude and speed. For targets hugging the ground, wait until you are within 10 to 15 kilometers before launching. If you are fighting at high altitudes, the thinner air extends your reach to 20 or 30 kilometers. However, there is a critical limit. The Su-30SM2's internal seeker only locks onto the target at 16 kilometers. You must maintain your radar lock until the missile reaches that Pitbull stage. If the target disappears from your scope before that 16-kilometer mark, the missile will likely lose its track and miss entirely. In a close-range dogfight, you don't always have time to point your nose directly at a target. By using the HMD, you can slave your radar or IRST to exactly where you are looking. This allows you to get a near-instant lock for an Su-30SM2 or an R-27 while you're still in the middle of a hard turn. A huge advantage of the HMS, while many pilots use it only for close-in scraps, you can actually acquire and lock targets at ranges up to 20 kilometers. When you first get the Su-30SM2, the stock grind can be brutal. To make the jet competitive as quickly as possible, I follow this specific research order to prioritize survivability and high-tier weaponry. 1. Flares, Chaff. Your absolute first priority is countermeasures. Without them, you won't survive the initial merge. 2. R-27ET. Next, unlock the infrared R-27ET to give yourself a stealthy long-range option. Tier 2. Close combat and handling. 3. R-73. This is essential for dogfights and high off-bore sight shots. 4 and 5. New boosters and airframe. Improving your handling and structural integrity is key for the high-G maneuvers this jet is capable of. Tier 3. Long-range dominance. 6. R-27A. This is arguably the best semi-active radar missile in the game. Getting this changes your playstyle entirely. 7 and 8. Wings repair and cover. These finish up your basic flight performance upgrades for this tier. Tier 4. The final tier. 9. R-77-1. Your top priority in Tier 4 is the active radar Fox 3 missiles. 10 and 11 Tier 1 backtrack. Now, go back to finish the compressor and fuselage repair to squeeze out more speed. 12 and 13. Engine and EFS. Finally, grab the engine upgrade for maximum thrust and the fire extinguisher system for a bit more survivability. Finally, Point 14 covers all the remaining ground attack and utility modules. This is where you transform the Su-30SM2 from a pure air superiority fighter into a lethal multi-role platform. For the rest of these engagements, I follow the exact same tactical blueprint, securing the high-altitude left flank, staying defensive against long-range threats, and supporting my team. Surviving the 14.3 MICA is all about consistency and discipline. Thank you for sticking around for this breakdown. I'm going to let the remaining footage play out without commentary so you can see the full flow of the matches. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Did you find this 10-match average player format helpful? Leave a comment below with your feedback, advice on my flying, or suggestions for which jet I should cover next. If you want to see more honest, data-driven content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Enjoy the rest of the action.
Атака гепард. Предельная перегрузка. Предельная перегрузка. Атака прервалась. Предельная перегрузка. Атака прервалась. Право, ниже. Предельная перегрузка. Атака прервалась. Предельная перегрузка. Предельная перегрузка. Атака прервалась. Право, выше. Предельная перегрузка. Предельная перегрузка.
Thank you so much to everyone who watched until the end. I hope these stats and tips help you in your own top tier journey. Best of luck out there in the skies, and I'll see you around.